In today's Schrade Saturday video, we're going to take a look at a new lock design from Schrade, the SureLock design. And you may have seen on another channel, they had some issues with this lock when they first sent out the testing models, and it was failing due to under impact, which is not necessarily what a lock's designed to prevent against, but they did some internal testing and they were able to duplicate the problems, and they went back and did some improvements to the lock. They sent me this one and told me to put it through the ringer, give it an extreme test, and that's what we're going to do coming up on Survival on Purpose. Welcome back to Survival on Purpose. My name is Brian. Thanks for joining me. So this Schrade Saturday, like I said, we're going to take a look at a new lock, and it's called the SureLock. And basically what it is, it's a very strong lock design Schrade has come out with, and it has a lever on the side here, and it's sort of like a back lock design. You can see inside here, if you can see that, there's a little notch here on the blade itself, and then inside the back strap there's or back spring, I don't know what you call that thing, but you can watch it, it just clips down. So it's pretty similar to a standard old back lock where you would push down here. It just uses a lever to engage it and disengage it. So a little bit of different design. It actually is a patent pending design. But one thing that Schrade does when they come out with a new design is they send out testing samples to reviewers like me and other people, and they look for feedback, and they really pay attention to that feedback. That's one thing, again, Schrade listens. I've said it over and over again. They listen to the consumer. They listen to those of us who are testing their knives. So another tester reviewer found a couple of issues with the lock, and basically what he was doing was he had like a 4x4 here, if just imagine my hand's a corner, and he was hitting the blade on it like that, you know, tapping it pretty, I don't know how hard, but hard enough to cause the lock to disengage. So Schrade kind of duplicated that same test herself, and they actually had the same results. The lock was letting go. And they sent me videos of that test, and I have to be honest with you, there were some other knives from other very popular manufacturers in there that failed exactly the same test. So I don't know if that's probably not what the locks on any folding knives are designed to protect against, is impacts. They're more designed to protect against just pressure. So if you're done close up on your hand while you're using it. But nevertheless, Schrade took it to heart, went back and did some more work on the lock, strengthened it up, and they sent me this one and told me to put it through the ringer and make sure that this lock was going to hold. So that's what we're going to do here in just a couple of minutes. But before we do that, let's go ahead and talk about the specs of this thing, give you some close-ups, and then we'll get to doing some of that nice stuff. Well, this is the Schrade SCH503 SureLock folding knife. This knife features a 3.6 inch or 9 1/4 centimeter drop point blade of AUS-8 high carbon stainless steel, a 5 inch or 12.5 centimeter silver aluminum handle with black rubber inserts, with an overall open length of 8.5 inches or 21.6 centimeters. The knife weighs 7 ounces or 200 grams. Features ambidextrous thumb knobs, thumb ramp jimping, a lanyard hole, and a tip-up pocket clip. The knife also features Schrade's new SureLock locking system. All right, well, that was the specs and details of the SCH503 from Schrade. I can tell you this thing comes in several different colors and color combinations. It's a very solid, hefty knife. It's a beefy knife. Honestly, it feels really good in your hand. I like the tip-up carry. I can just tell you this thing feels really smooth. It's got a really nice, solid engagement. Stick around for a few more minutes. I have made some improvements to the high-tech testing facility here at Survival on Purpose in order to add some lock testing apparatus. I think you're going to like that. But first, let's take you down to the old stump top and do some of that nice stuff. First of all, let's do a little paper cut test. See how well it works. I'm not the greatest paper cutter in the world. Some messing technique, but reasonably sharp there. Let's take a look at some wood. See how well it does some of that carving stuff. Let's just try a few feathers here. This is some really not good feather wood, actually. We'll try some of the old poplar up here. We got the old standby poplar. All right, so I don't know. This thing does not have a really, I don't know, we'll see. Oh, not too bad. Let's just see what we can do with it. Look at there. It's got a very nice spine on it, to be honest with you. Pretty amazing for a little folding knife like this. I got to say, I'm pretty impressed. I got to tell you, this is not something I would normally do with a folding knife, but since they had the issue before, you know, I want to make sure that I'm giving this thing a really good solid test. So we're just gonna. This is about how hard I think it was banging before. I'm not going to try to break it. I'm just trying to duplicate the test of what was being done before, and this thing is holding pretty well. I don't want to cut my hand if it really does break, but I think that is, as far as the one that had an issue, I think that was probably not getting hit any harder than that and did just fine. So we've done that. Listen, now let's get really extreme. So in my never-ending effort to constantly improve the high-tech testing facility here at Survival on Purpose Laboratories, I've created a lock test facility here for you, and we're going to go ahead and put this knife in through it and see how well it does on the lock test. So, okay, so what I wanted to be able to do was to test the lock strength with that safely. So I've created a lock testing apparatus here, and what we're going to do is we're just going to insert the blade in the testing apparatus like so, and push it in pretty good. That'll allow us to put some pressure on this thing and see how well it holds pressures. Okay, so this is what I would consider an extreme engineering test. Do not try this at home, but we got it in there pretty good, and you can see the blade is almost all the way in, all the way up to almost the thumb studs, and we are going to give it the test now. And I weigh about 170, so we're going to see if this thing will hold my weight. And you can see it actually, I thought the lock broke, but it actually didn't. It actually just bit down into the wood, so we'll let it wedge itself there. I'll just stand on it here real quick. Okay, I'm holding off with one hand out here. Let me back up where you can really see what I'm doing. Just so you don't think there's any shenanigans here. I mean, I don't know how much more I can put it on. I'm just holding myself off with it. So, and the blade is biting down in. So we're going to call that a pass. Okay, well that was I think a pretty comprehensive test of the SCH503 and the lock, especially the new Sherlock on this thing. I think it passed all the tests with flying colors, and I think this would be a really solid knife. I think Schrade's done a really good job of once again, you know, paying attention to any issues and correcting them. And I got to say, this lock just really absolutely did a great job as far as I'm concerned. And the knife itself is just a very solid, capable knife. And once again, thanks to the folks at Schrade for sending me this so I can show it to you. Once again, that's the SCH503. Got several different color options on this thing with the new Sherlock from Schrade. Also, I wanted to invite you to check me out over at Instagram. It's instagram.com/survival on purpose, and I've got a little mini series running there. I found a little bird's nest at my mom and dad's house in the back of their satellite dish, which is actually about 3 foot from the back window, so it's a really good observation post. So I've created a little series over on Instagram to kind of follow the progress of the eggs. There's 5 little eggs in the nest. It's a little brown bird, so maybe you can help me identify it there, but I'll be trying to take a picture every day or so just to kind of update that. And you know, you might say, what does that got to do with survival? Well, I'll tell you, it's just it illustrates to me the adaptability necessary to survive. I mean, they got a nest and a satellite dish, and it's working fine for them. So anyway, that's at the Instagram channel, Survival on Purpose. I invite you to check me out over there. And as always, thanks for watching Survival on Purpose here on YouTube. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for clicking that thumbs up, for sharing this video with lots and lots of folks. And thank you so much for doing your Amazon shopping through the Survival on Purpose links. I really appreciate the support. Once again, my name's Brian. You're watching Survival on Purpose. Remember, survival's not an accident, so be prepared. And I'll see you next time. So my never-ending effort to constantly improve the, what I'm about to do is very ridiculous. Today's Schrade,